Hey, good evening, friends. Illinois State Senator and your next governor, Darren Bailey, coming to you. Thank you so much for gathering together tonight to celebrate some good candidates to take back our state and to take back our country. I certainly was planning on being there. I know I've met many of you through this journey, and I'm really sorry that I couldn't be there tonight. But let me tell you where I am tonight. Even though I'm on the camera in front of you, I'm actually in Mar-a-Lago with President Trump. So I thought that whenever we received this opportunity to visit with President Trump, I kind of figured that you might agree that that's probably where I need to be. So we're talking about the future of Illinois, and I hope to come back in the next few weeks with some very good news for you. But until then, nothing really changes. Our campaign, my wife Cindy and I, are working hard, and we believe that wholeheartedly we will be the nominee on June 28, and we will get Pritzker rooted out of office on November 8. So thank you so much for being patient and understanding with our absence tonight. So my name is Darren Bailey. I come from about 3 hours south of you, around Effingham, Illinois. I farmed all of my life. I've worked hard trying to grow a business and try to raise a family. Cindy and I have been married for 35 years. We have 4 children. We have 11 grandchildren. We're blessed that our children all live around us in southeast Illinois, and that is the journey that we are embarked upon in Illinois politics, is to save their future and keep them in Illinois. And I know that you share that exact same concern. I got involved in politics several years ago when I got frustrated with my state representative who started voting for tax increases. That's about 2018, and I've been fighting hard ever since. I've served on our local school board for 17 years, and when I got off of the school board, Cindy and I started Full Armor Christian Academy, a private Christian school that today we have over 360 students, preschool through high school. So I believe in school choice, and I believe in the voucher system, that the money should follow the child. We'll be fighting for that as well. So I served for 2 years, 1 term as a state representative, and then I got elected into the Senate when my state senator decided to step down. So now I'm at the beginning, I've served 1.5 years of a 2-year term as a state senator. I really thought that I would term limit myself to 10 years and, come back home, fight the fight, do the best that I could do. But when I showed up in Springfield, I discovered that many Republicans weren't really standing up and fighting, and that really bothered me. But so I became an advocate to stand up and fight for truth. I stood up and I fought back hard when half of the Republicans in the House voted to support the gas tax increase of 2019. I stood up in committee and pushed back when full-term abortion was legalized in 2019. And so I've been pushing back hard just against common sense laws, the shrinkage of our government, getting less government, and certainly delivering tax breaks instead of tax increases, as Illinois so often does. Well, then we had COVID, and do you remember 2 weeks to flatten the curve? That was March 17th of 2020. That was primary night. That was my birthday. I had secured the primary for the Illinois Senate. And that was the first night of these lockdowns. Schools were closed. Businesses were forced to shut down. Churches were asked to close. And 2 weeks to flatten the curve. So we kind of sat by to see what would happen. And we know what happened, because 2 weeks turned into 2 years. And I can tell you, within weeks, I was not satisfied. I began to talk with the Republican leadership that we should bind together, unify, and do something, but nobody wanted to do anything. So in the middle of May, I secured my good friend Tom DeVore, that's there with you tonight, and we sued Governor Pritzker.
And Governor Pritzker spent the next 2 months trying to find a more liberal court to host this lawsuit so he could get it thrown out, but that didn't happen. And finally, on July 2nd of 2020, the case was heard in its entirety, and the judge at Clay County Circuit Court ruled that Governor Pritzker was indeed unconstitutional and illegal in his activities. And so we had a victory. So I went again to the Republican establishments in the House, the leaders in the House and the Senate and of our state party, and I said, we have a victory. Let's get the word out. And again, out of fear and complacency, they did nothing. Now, what I can tell you is that where I live in southern Illinois, and my good friend Tom DeVore will vouch for this, that things have been open and free ever since July of 2020. But unfortunately, Governor Pritzker had a larger and a louder platform than we did. So he convinced many of the people in your part of the world that you needed to keep your churches and your schools and your businesses closed. And what resulted out of that has just been a destroyed economy, destroyed lives, destroyed futures of our children. And friends, we can never go back there again. The purpose of government is to protect its people, but government informs, government educates, and government provides whatever it is that's needed. Never, ever, ever does government shut down and force business and an economy in a free world to close. And friends, after I'm governor, that will never, ever be allowed to happen again. So I just want to make you understand the importance of that, of me sticking my neck out when no one else would. And it's interestingly enough, because about 30 days later, we were called back into special session in Springfield, and $152,000 per day of your tax money was spent to rent a big auditorium, and our desks were positioned 12 feet apart. And so I stood up and I said, there's no reason why I need to be wearing this mask while I'm sitting down here. Well, the Democrats and several Republicans disagreed with that, so they voted to kick me out of the General Assembly when I refused to honor their ridiculous and unconstitutional mask mandate. So I stood up for you again there. And then finally, we just life of the last 2 years has kicked in, and when your children went back to school in August of 21, you realized that you'd had it with the mask mandate. So many of you secured a Mr. DeVore again, and we took it to the schools, and we won. And finally, the mask mandates, the closures, is beginning to end. So here's the deal. We cannot let the Democrats and Governor Pritzker forget that. We're going to deliver a solid message in November, and when we root this administration out of office. Another situation that I stand strong on, I am the pro-life candidate. Just last week, I was endorsed by all 4 of the major Illinois Right to Life groups. I was endorsed by Illinois Right to Life Action, Illinois Federation for Life Action, and Illinois Family Action. Many of you may be familiar with those organizations. I was also endorsed by the Lake County Right to Life group. I am the one that day one agenda is going to entail stopping taxpayer-funded abortion. And then from there, we will begin to work to lift up, build the family, and protect life instead of destroy it. So whatever that takes, I am a pro-advocate for the heartbeat bill, that as soon as a heartbeat is established, that there should be, abortion should be illegal. I want to make sure that you understand one thing. Governor Pritzker just recently introduced an idea that for any doctor of any state, Texas, Missouri, where abortions are illegal, that if they lose their license, they can come to Illinois and just automatically be licensed as the doctor. Friends, that is a bad idea, and that is not good, and I will seek to stop that as well. I also want to let you know that I am the most pro-Second Amendment legislator in Springfield and gubernatorial candidate. I'm a lifelong NRA member. I'm a lifelong Illinois State Rifle Association member. I'm a lifelong Gun Safe Lives member. And in all of my earlier primaries, I've been endorsed by those groups too. So you have someone here that will certainly get rid of that FOID program. And one of these days, if we could be constitutional carry, I will be fighting for that, because I believe in the high populated areas downtown Chicago. I believe that the mother that's walking her children or sitting in the park with them, I believe that if she was trained and able to carry properly, that I think that's how we reduce a crime in Chicago, in the urban areas, and literally now all across Illinois, because I'm a staunch supporter of repealing the Safety Act and giving our police officers back the integrity and the honor that should go along with their job. What we've done is wrong. We've handicapped and handcuffed our police officers, and now we're cleansing our prisons, letting these people who have been sentenced to life, we're letting them out early. That's simply wrong. We are a land of laws, and those laws must be upheld, and that's simply how we do it. We let the men and women of law enforcement properly uphold those laws, and then we elect good men and women into the seats of judges who will make sure that the punishment fits the crime. Finally, you have been inundated with absolute lies about our campaign. So isn't it interesting? I think for those of you that know who I am, you know that I constantly tell you what I stand for, or what I plan to do, and I never tear down my opponent. I simply stay ahead of the pack. And here's the deal. We are ahead of the pack. The latest polling has shown we are 35%. The gentleman that is slandering me so much, the mayor of Aurora, sets at 15%, and everyone else is below that. But once you do your homework and such of the city of Aurora, you'll find out that the pension system is a disaster. You'll find out that BLM had their way during the riots. You'll find out that Aurora is one of the highest taxed cities, not just in the state, but in the country. So please do your homework and check that out. As a matter of fact, his running mate, well, she supported the gas tax increase of 2019, and he supported and voted for and passed a 2-cent gas tax about the same time for the city of Aurora. I want to address just two things real quick. This whole lie that I voted for Biden. No, I have never in my life supported a Democrat. But the fact is that Cindy and I did pull a Democrat ballot in 2008. So I'm just going to ask you this. Are there any Rush Limbaugh fans out there? If you remember Rush Limbaugh, look up Operation Chaos. And the goal was that if you pulled a ballot, or if you lived in a state and a county and an area where you had no contested Republican races, then pull a Democrat ballot and kind of mess things up between Hillary and Obama. That was the plan. And I was simply asked by someone who was recording me in a large group in Chicago who I voted for, and I said, I don't know. That's 14 years ago. When the primary is taking place in April and March, I'm in the fields working hard. I stopped by and I vote, so I simply said, I don't remember. I mentioned I could have voted for this gentleman because by that point in time, he was off the ballot. I said that, they recorded it, and now they're trying to say that I voted for him, Biden, instead of President Trump in 2020. Friends, I was an alternate delegate for President Trump in 2020. So the one time in my life that I've ever pulled a ballot, not supporting a Democrat, was in 2008. He also purports that I raised taxes in our school district by 81%. A lie. Let me tell you the truth. I served for 17 years from 1995 to 2012, and I want to share something with you and look it up. I live in Clay County. The school district I served for was North Clay Unit 25. Look them up, and you will discover something very unique, that Clay County and our school system are the 7th lowest taxed per capita counties and school districts in the state. Interestingly enough, when you check out the city of Aurora and Kane County, you'll discover that they are the 3rd highest taxed city in the state. So the 17 years that we served, schools are able to ask for levy extensions. We did that 14 of those 17 years. Our board did, not me by myself, our board. And because the state was not sending us the proper money. So anyone out there that has served on a school board, you understand what I'm saying. So we didn't raise taxes by 81%, but 81% of the time that I served on the board, we asked for the extension, which averaged $2 per household and averaged about $5 a year per household. Take 14 divided by 17, you get 81.8%. So that's where they're coming away with these twisted lies. And that's the disgust of what takes place in politics, this whole story of the spin zone. You take what's wrong with you and you fudge a little bit, you lie, let's call it what it is, and you spin it on your opponent to try to make it sound like they are the problem. So go to BaileyForIllinois.com. Look up the facts. Go to our Facebook page, Darren Bailey for Governor. Have a very active Twitter, Darren Bailey for Governor. Go to my state page, Darren Bailey State Senator, the 55 Senate District, and start researching and understanding for yourself the truth. So I want to end on one other thing, because I think we're all concerned about election integrity. I am one of the only sitting state legislators that have actually filed legislation to improve voter integrity by offering mandatory voter IDs, by making sure that our county clerks expunge the voter rolls each year, adding the people that move in, taking off the people that either pass away or leave. I'm asking for a 1% audit on every ballot, on every voter, every election cycle, and then I'm also going to make sure that we digitally track the ballots when they're mailed out of the courthouses and until the time that they return. But here's how we protect our election system. If you remember, President Trump told us before the 2020 election there's going to be voter fraud. I personally didn't understand what that meant, and unfortunately our own Republican Party didn't do anything about it. Friends, poll watchers and election judges, go to the county clerk's office and sign up to be a poll watcher. If you're a poll watcher, we can take you up into Cook, anywhere in Cook County or the surrounding counties, and you can help monitor the election. If you're an election judge, you only get to monitor in your own home county, but there is an immense amount of authority to that. That's how we protect our elections. But we're busy working because of high taxes, and sometimes we don't take time to serve in a role of government, especially as a poll watcher and election judge. Friends, if we must go and sign up for this. We will train you with Illinois Conservative Union, Freedom Works. They're going to come along after you get qualified. More people are going to come along by your side. You're going to see that on our web page and Facebook page, and we're going to help you understand what to look out for and what to do if you see fraud. There will be an election attorneys available that we can call, and we're going to deal with the issues immediately. All this stories that we hear about wasted ballots and ballots getting stolen or lost. Well, if the election judge is staying and with backbone and doing their job, they prevent all this because they follow the ballots from the precinct all the way to the courthouse to the final destination. And there's a way to monitor the votes so that we can kind of understand when the tallies come, we can either agree with it or we disagree with it, and we take care of it the night of election instead of talking about it 2 years later. So listen, I am absolutely honored. The Polish community, I've always known that you were hard workers, you're honest people, you're men and women of integrity, and probably most importantly, you're men and women who love freedom. I came up and walked the precincts for Jeannie Ives and other congressmen and women 2 years ago, and we would come into your communities. This was before I really had the idea that I was going to be running for governor, and you would come up to me and you would tell me your stories of your country and how many times throughout history you lost your freedoms because people simply fell asleep and didn't stand up to do what's right. But God bless you for being here, not only in America, but being in the great state of Illinois and in Chicago. And you can be a catalyst for change if you join our team. We work together, and I want your story to be heard. And we make sure that what your country has what you've witnessed over the last several years never happens again. We have an immense God-given responsibility with this constitutional republic of the most greatest nation that's ever existed on the face of this earth, and we've got to protect it. The men and women out there who have served in our military and armed forces, I say God bless you, and I say thank you. And you served to protect our freedoms. But for the rest of us, we have an equal responsibility now to uphold our freedoms. So have a good night. Have a good evening. We'll be seeing you very soon. We'll be up there more, and we'll be attending other events. And thank you for your patience and your time in allowing me to come to you via video while I'm visiting with the greatest president of America. So God bless you and good night.